born in Paris and had practiced there all his life, and he said that he spoke not merely from common knowledge, but from exasperating personal experience. As I was saying, the bearer's recommendations were all from American tourists, and St. Peter would have admitted him to the fields of the blessed on them. I mean, if he is as unfamiliar with our people and our ways as I suppose he is. According to these recommendations, Manuel X was supreme in all the arts connected with his complex trade, and these manifold arts were mentioned and praised in detail. His English was spoken of in terms of warm admiration verging upon rapture. I took pleased note of that, and hoped that some of it might be true. We had to have some one right away, so the family went downstairs and took him a week on trial, then sent him up to me and departed on their affairs. I was shut up in my quarters with a bronchial cough, and glad to have something fresh to look at, something new to play with. Manuel filled a bill. Manuel was very welcome. He was toward 50 years old, tall, slender, with a slight stoop, an artificial stoop, a deferential stoop, a stoop rigidified by long habit, with face of European mold, short hair intensely black, gentle black eyes, timid black eyes, indeed. Complexion very dark, nearly black in fact, face smooth-shaven. He was bareheaded and barefooted, and was never otherwise while his week with us lasted. His clothing was European, cheap, flimsy, and showed much wear. He stood before me and inclined his head and body in the pathetic Indian way, touching his forehead with the finger ends of his right hand in salute. I said, "Manuel, you are evidently Indian, but you seem to have a Spanish name, when you put it all together. How is that?" A perplexed look gathered in his face. It was plain that he had not understood, but he didn't let on. He spoke back placidly. "Name Manuel. Yes, master." "I know. But how did you get the name?" "Oh, yes, I suppose. Think happen so. Father same name, not mother." I saw that I must simplify my language and spread my words apart, if I would be understood by this English scholar. "Well, then, how did your father get his name?" "Oh, he," brightening a little, "he Christian Portuguee, live in Goa. I born Goa. Mother not Portuguee. Mother native high caste Brahmin. Kulin Brahmin, highest caste, no other so high caste. I high caste Brahmin too. Christian too, same like father. High caste Christian Brahmin, master. Salvation Army." All this haltingly and with difficulty. Then he had an inspiration and began to pour out a flood of words that I could make nothing of, so I said, "There, don't do that. I can't understand Hindustani." "Not Hindustani, master. English. Always I speaking English sometimes when I talking every day all the time at you." "Very well, stick to that. That is intelligible. It is not up to my hopes, it is not up to the promise of the recommendations, still it is English, and I understand it. Don't elaborate it. I don't like elaborations when they are crippled by uncertainty of touch. Master?" "Oh, never mind. It was only a random thought. I didn't expect you to understand it. How did you get your English? Is it an acquirement, or just a gift of God?" After some hesitation, piously, "Yes, he very good. Christian God very good. Hindu God very good, too. 2,000,000 Hindu God. One Christian God. Make 2,000,001. All mine. 2,000,001 God. I got a plenty. Sometime I pray all time at those. Keep it up. Go all time every day. Give something at shrine. All good for me. Make me better man. Good for me. Good for my family. Damn good." Then he had another inspiration, and went rambling off into fervent confusions and incoherencies, and I had to stop him again. I thought we had talked enough, so I told him to go to the bathroom and clean it up and remove the slops. This to get rid of him. He went away, seeming to understand, and got out some of my clothes and began to brush them. I repeated my desire several times, simplifying and resimplifying it, and at last he got the idea. Then he went away and put a coolie at the work, and explained that he would lose caste if he did it himself. It would be pollution, by the law of his caste, and it would cost him a deal of fuss and trouble to purify himself and accomplish his rehabilitation. He said that that kind of work was strictly forbidden to persons of caste, and as strictly restricted to the very bottom layer of Hindu society, the despised Sudra, the toiler, the laborer. He was right, and apparently the poor Sudra has been content with his strange lot, his insulting distinction, for ages and ages, clear back to the beginning of things, so to speak. Buckle says that his name, laborer, is a term of contempt, that it is ordained by the Institutes of Menu, 900 B.C., that if a Sudra sit on a level with his superior, he shall be exiled or branded. Without going into particulars, I will remark that as a rule they wear no clothing that would conceal the brand. M.T. If he speak contemptuously of his superior or insult him, he shall suffer death. If he listen to the reading of the sacred books, he shall have burning oil poured in his ears. If he memorize passages from them, he shall be killed. If he marry his daughter to a Brahmin, the husband shall go to hell for defiling himself by contact with a woman so infinitely his inferior, and that it is forbidden to a Sudra to acquire wealth. The bulk of the population of India, says Buckle, population today 300 million, is the Sudras, the workers, the farmers, the creators of wealth. Manuel was a failure, poor old fellow. His age was against him. He was desperately slow and phenomenally forgetful. When he went 3 blocks on an errand he would be gone 2 hours, and then forget what it was he went for. When he packed a trunk it took him forever, and the trunk's contents were an unimaginable chaos when he got done. He couldn't wait satisfactorily at table, a prime defect, for if you haven't your own servant in an Indian hotel you are likely to have a slow time of it and go away hungry. We couldn't understand his English, he couldn't understand ours, and when we found that he couldn't understand his own, it seemed time for us to part. I had to discharge him. There was no help for it. But I did it as kindly as I could, and as gently. "We must part," said I, "but I hoped we should meet again in a better world." It was not true, but it was only a little thing to say, and saved his feelings and cost me nothing. But now that he was gone, and was off my mind and heart, my spirits began to rise at once, and I was soon feeling brisk and ready to go out and have adventures. Then his newly hired successor flitted in, touched his forehead, and began to fly around here, there, and everywhere on his velvet feet, and in 5 minutes he had everything in the room shipshape and Bristol fashion, as the sailors say, and was standing at the salute waiting for orders. Dear me, what a rustler he was after the slumberous way of Manuel, poor old slug! All my heart, all my affection, all my admiration went out spontaneously to this frisky little forked black thing, this compact and compressed incarnation of energy and force and promptness and celerity and confidence, this smart, smiley, engaging, shiny-eyed little devil, feruled on his upper end by a gleaming fire-coal of a fez with a red-hot tassel dangling from it. I said, with deep satisfaction, "You'll suit. What is your name?" He reeled it mellowly off. "Let me see if I can make a selection out of it, for business uses, I mean. We will keep the rest for Sundays. Give it to me in installments." He did it. But there did not seem to be any short ones, except Musa, which suggested mouse. It was out of character. It was too soft, too quiet, too conservative. It didn't fit his splendid style. I considered, and said, "Musa is short enough, but I don't quite like it. It seems colorless, inharmonious, inadequate, and I am sensitive to such things. How do you think Satan would do?" "Yes, master, Satan do wow good." It was his way of saying very good. There was a rap at the door. Satan covered the ground with a single skip. There was a word or two of Hindustani, then he disappeared. 3 minutes later he was before me again, militarily erect, and waiting for me to speak first. "What is it, Satan?" "God want to see you." "Who?" "God. I show him up, master?" Why, this is so unusual that